Everyone said I hit the jackpot. I was an orphan, yet the Vance family picked me out at a glance and took me in as their foster daughter. From then on, I was treated like royalty, just like Brittany Vance, the Vance family's true eldest daughter. We had the same lavish lifestyle, the same upbringing, the same everything. After a big family dinner on a holiday evening, my adoptive mother, Eleanor Vance, smiled and presented a box, asking us to draw slips. There are 2 slips here. One says study abroad. If you draw it, you'll go overseas for further education and eventually take over the family business. The other says stay home. If you draw that, you'll stay here with me. Brittany was absolutely confident. As a Vance by blood, it was only natural for her to study abroad and inherit the family. And I, the foster daughter, was meant to be a convenient pawn, staying by her mother's side, serving tea and water, keeping her amused. I thought so too. But to my surprise, I drew the study abroad slip. Brittany's face instantly contorted, and she shrieked, insulting me. Did you cheat? Everything in the Vance family is mine. You illegitimate mongrel. Who knows where you came from? How dare you even think of inheriting the family business? Mom, are you really going to let an outsider steal my life? Normally, whenever Brittany threw a fit, Eleanor would compromise, giving her whatever she wanted, even my parents' keepsakes. This time, however, Eleanor's face was devoid of expression as she slapped the screaming Brittany hard across the face. Rules are rules. Whoever draws it gets it. From now on, the Vance family business will be inherited by Alice. Brittany clutched her face, staring at Eleanor in disbelief. Mom, how could you hit me for her? I'm your own daughter. What kind of spell has that little brat who knows where she came from cast on you? Eleanor seemed not to hear her cries, not even sparing her a glance. She simply turned to me, her voice calm as she instructed. Alice, go get all your documents ready. I'll take you to process the paperwork tomorrow. Seeing that her crying and screaming had no effect, the hurt on Brittany's face was replaced by venomous resentment. She spun around abruptly, glaring at me through gritted teeth. Alice Vance, you just wait. You think you can steal what's mine? No chance in hell. She then shrieked at Eleanor again, attempting a final threat. Mom, if you really give everything in the Vance family to this outsider today, I'll disown you. I'm leaving right now. A flicker of heartache crossed Eleanor's eyes, but she merely pressed her lips together, ultimately saying nothing to stop her. She didn't even look at Brittany as she slammed the door and left. Eleanor just softened her voice when she spoke to me. Alice, don't take it too hard. I'll talk to Brittany later. I nodded obediently on the surface, but a sense of dread filled me. I knew Brittany's personality better than anyone I in the past. Without direct conflicts of interest, she enjoyed tormenting me. The bruises and scratches that appeared on me every other day were already commonplace. Now that I had snatched away the inheritance she considered her birthright, how could she possibly let it go? I took a deep breath, putting on a sensible facade, and walked towards Eleanor. Mom, the Vance family has raised me for so many years. I'm already so grateful I never dared to dream of inheriting anything. That study abroad spot and the inheritance rightfully belong to Brittany. Please, don't let me ruin your mother-daughter relationship with Brittany. Eleanor turned, her gaze lingering on my face for a moment, a complex emotion flashing in her eyes. She sighed. Her tone, however, was firm. Alice, you're just too sensible. Brittany, she's been spoiled by me. I know in my heart that you are the one truly suited to carry the Vance family's legacy. Since destiny decreed that you draw the slip, this is your fate and the Vance family's fate. Accept it with peace of mind. I'll handle everything else and won't let Brittany mess things up. Seeing her resolve, the words I was about to say died in my throat. I truly didn't care about the Vance family's vast wealth, but that study abroad spot was the only key to escaping my suffocating life. In the Vance household, I was ostensibly a glamorous foster daughter, but in reality, the hidden bullying and exclusion were harder to bear than in the orphanage. With this study abroad spot, I could leave the Vance family openly and legitimately. At most, I would just go along with Eleanor's wishes for now, leave this place, and once the plane landed, I could find an opportunity to explain to her and give up the inheritance. It wouldn't be too late. Thinking this, I lowered my eyes and meekly agreed. At Eleanor's urging, I went back to my room to pack my essential documents. Just as I opened the drawer and took out my passport, my door was violently kicked open. Brittany stood in the doorway, her eyes bloodshot, but those eyes were fixated on the passport in my hand. Alice Vance, are you actually planning to take my family's money and go live it up overseas? Don't you have any shame? Any decency? How can you feel so smug about stealing someone else's things? As she spoke, she rushed over and snatched my passport. I reached out to grab it back, but Brittany shoved me with even greater force. My back slammed against the wall, and I gasped in pain, sliding to the floor. She loomed over me, clutching the passport in her hand. You want to steal my things to study abroad? Alice Vance, I'm telling you, dream on. You dirt poor wretch, rotting in the mud. How dare you compete with me? To my horror, she tore the passport in half with both hands. I endured the pain and questioned her, my voice trembling. Brittany Vance, Mom decided this herself. Aren't you afraid Mom will be angry if you tear up the passport? Brittany casually tossed the torn passport pieces onto my face and sneered. Angry? I'm her only biological daughter. No matter what I do, she'll always side with me in the end. Didn't she say nothing when I treated you like that before? Although I had suspected it for years, Eleanor probably wasn't entirely unaware of Brittany's bullying. Perhaps she simply thought an adopted child could serve as a useful punching bag for her biological daughter. But hearing her say it so bluntly still sent a chill down my spine. Tearing up the passport wasn't enough for Brittany. She started rummaging through my room, determined to destroy all my documents. I didn't want to lose this opportunity. Enduring the pain, I struggled to my feet and stood between her and the cabinet. Get lost. You dare block me? Seeing my defiance, Brittany's rage intensified. She raised her hand, ready to slap me across the face. Stop that. Eleanor's sharp shout suddenly came from the doorway. My body instantly froze. Brittany's action paused for only a moment. Then she ignored Eleanor, not only failing to pull back, but even escalating, slapping me hard to the ground. Eleanor stormed into the room, her eyes immediately falling on the pile of passport fragments on the floor. Her face darkened instantly. Brittany, you've gone too far. I've made my decision on this, and I won't change my mind, no matter how much you fuss. She wasted no more words, directly calling the servants outside the door to take the still raging Brittany back to her room. Quiet returned to the room, leaving only me, a displeased Eleanor, and the mess scattered across the floor. Eleanor's gaze fell on me, her tone carrying a hint of dissatisfaction. Alice, you're going to lead the Vance family someday. How can you not even hold on to a passport? Forget it. I'll have someone fast-track a replacement passport for you. Keep your other documents safe and be ready to leave with me tomorrow. Don't mess this up. I lowered my head, not offering any explanations, just quietly agreeing. Eleanor gave a few more instructions, telling me not to provoke Brittany further and to be more yielding with her before turning and leaving. I slowly knelt, tidying up the mess on the floor, silently counting down the days until my departure. Just a little longer, just a few more days, and I would be free. Before the appointed time, I locked myself in my room, doing my best to avoid any potential contact with Brittany. My door was locked, and even my meals were delivered directly to the entrance by the servants. However, the next day, at the agreed-upon time, as I tried to quietly leave the house, I found my door wouldn't open. My heart sank. I twisted the doorknob harder, even tried to ram the door with my shoulder, but the lock didn't budge. I pounded on the door, screaming for help. But the servants passing by outside seemed not to hear a thing. I screamed until my voice was hoarse. Finally, a voice full of reluctance sounded from outside the door. "Miss Alice, please don't shout, it's no use." It was Maria, the housekeeper who usually cleaned this floor. Her voice came through the door, tinged with fear. "It's Miss Brittany's strict order. She said anyone who dares to open your door will be fired immediately. We have no choice." My last sliver of hope extinguished. I slid down the door to the floor, my body turning cold. The servants all knew perfectly well that Brittany was the rightful eldest daughter of this house, and I was merely a foster daughter who could lose favor at any moment. I watched the sky outside the window slowly dim. I stopped shouting, just sat with my knees hugged, my hope fading with time. Just then, Eleanor's voice, full of suppressed anger, suddenly came from outside the door. "You've all gone mad. Who gave you the nerve to lock Alice in her room? I'm still alive and well in this house. For you to give orders. Open that door immediately." The door was quickly opened. Outside, several servants stood in a trembling line, heads bowed, not daring to breathe. Brittany, hearing the commotion, also burst out of her room, screaming at Eleanor. "Mom, what are you doing?" "I just don't want this mongrel to steal my things. Why are you helping her?" Eleanor looked at her daughter's hysterical state and said nothing more. She simply ordered James, the butler, standing nearby. "Take Miss Brittany back to her room and keep her there. She's not allowed to step out until Alice and I return." Brittany's screams were cut off behind the door. Eleanor then turned to me, not saying much, and hurried me into the car. The atmosphere in the car was suffocatingly heavy during the drive. Eleanor kept staring out the window, her brow furrowed. I knew she was worried about Brittany. After all, this was the first time she had spoken such harsh words to her beloved daughter. Sure enough, not long after we arrived at the office, Eleanor's phone rang. It was James, the butler. "Madam, it's terrible. Please come back quickly. Miss Brittany, she's threatening to jump. She's sitting on the windowsill now, refusing to come down no matter who tries to persuade her." Eleanor's face instantly went pale. She abruptly stood up from her seat, grabbing her bag in a panic, not even sparing me a glance. She just hastily tossed out a single sentence. "Alice, you finish the rest of the paperwork yourself." My heart sank heavily. Brittany had indeed resorted to the most extreme measure. I was afraid Eleanor would soften and compromise again under her daughter's suicide threat, so I didn't dare to delay for a moment. I rushed through all the procedures as quickly as possible. Even with the plane ticket and documents firmly in my hand, I felt a little dazed. Had it really gone through? Brittany hadn't managed to sabotage everything at the last minute? It was almost too smooth, leaving me with a faint sense of unease. I took a deep breath and walked out of the office lobby. The next second, I froze in place. Right at the main entrance of the building, Brittany stood leisurely, a triumphant sneer replacing her earlier frantic expression. And behind her, 5 or 6 muscular men in black suits blocked all my escape routes. "Alice Vance, so eager to take what you stole and fly off. As expected, trash is trash. You steal things and act so righteous." She lifted her chin and commanded the men behind her. "Go, teach her a good lesson. Teach her that other people's things are not to be touched." At her words, the men's faces twisted into grim smiles as they closed in on me. My heart pounded. I turned to run, but they quickly surrounded me, blocking every exit. Seeing no escape, I steeled myself, curled into a ball, and clutched the document bag containing my ticket and papers tightly to my chest. I was pressed to the ground. Someone yanked my hair, and slaps rained down on my cheeks. The coppery taste of blood filled my mouth. I bit down hard, not making a sound, enduring the punches and kicks raining down on me, my vision blurring. Brittany stood a few steps away on the stairs, arms crossed. Seeing me curled up, protecting the document bag, Her voice was petulant. Alice Vance, aren't you so capable? Daring to snatch things from me, daring to process paperwork behind Mom's back. Why aren't you so tough now? Keep hitting her until she lets go. I want to see just how hard this wretch's bones are. I don't know how long it lasted, but the one-sided beating finally stopped. My whole body ached, and I could only lie on the ground, gasping for breath. Brittany squatted down, nudged my shoulder disdainfully with the tip of her shoe, then snatched away the document bag. She casually flipped through the ticket and papers inside, then pulled a lighter from her pocket. No. My eyes burned with fury. I found a burst of strength from somewhere and desperately grabbed her pant leg. Just as Brittany kicked me away and was about to ignite the folder, Eleanor finally arrived. She rushed over, panting. The bodyguards following her quickly subdued the thugs and Brittany. Brittany Vance, you've even learned despicable tricks like faking suicide by jumping. I'm telling you, from today on, none of your schemes will work on me. Back at the Vance home, Eleanor dragged a crying and struggling Brittany into the study for a lecture. I, dragging my aching body, returned to my room. The next morning, I sat in the car, waiting. After a long time, Eleanor finally emerged with a red-eyed, swollen-faced Brittany. Alice, Brittany knows she was wrong. I specifically asked her to see you off today and apologize properly. After all, you two are sisters. You'll always need to support each other in the future. Saying this, she nudged Brittany. Go, help your sister with her luggage. Consider it an apology. Under Eleanor's unwavering gaze, Brittany grudgingly walked over, snatched my backpack, and deliberately slammed her elbow into yesterday's wound. I gasped in pain, a cold sweat instantly breaking out on my forehead. But I bit down hard, swallowing my cry of pain. No more complications, I told myself. Just endure a little longer. Everything would be over soon. At the airport, Brittany seemed to have adjusted her mood. She was laughing and chatting with Eleanor as if she hadn't been the frantic person of yesterday. And I, seeing the boarding gate so close, couldn't help but let out a faint smile. Finally, the announcement for my flight to begin boarding echoed through the speakers. I took a deep breath, stood up, and extended my hand to Brittany for my backpack. However, at that very moment, Eleanor suddenly stood up. She clamped one hand tightly on me, holding me in her embrace. With her other hand, she used all her strength to push Brittany forcefully towards the boarding ramp. Eleanor's voice suddenly rose, her eyes filled with reluctance as she looked at Brittany. Alice, study well over there. Mom will wait for you to come back and inherit the family business. Before I could react, a group of fully equipped police officers surrounded Eleanor and me.